I am Kala Dakuru Batbor. The news in detail. Let's begin the news this afternoon from Akinima community in the West local government area of Rivers State, where fear and frustration are growing as floodwaters take over homes and churches. Our resident says families are suffering, children can't go to school, and snakes are now invading their homes. She says daily life has almost come to a standstill as the water keeps rising.
As this flood so we not get joy because we dey suffer. The flood don reach everywhere. Our children don't fit go school. Cassava don enter farm. Snake is everywhere. The children every day say we dey hungry. We got no money to even go pack, go find another new house. So today like so we dey find help. So we need help. Oh, we need help. The flood don't be small thing. We dey suffer. The children say they get things for body.
Homes are not the only places swallowed by the flood. Churches are affected too. The vicar of St. Peter's Anglican Church, Akinima Parish, Samson Stewart, and Christopher Aloha of the Assemblies of God Church say services were disrupted this week. They warn that if water levels continue to rise, they may be forced to move worship to a temporary location.
It's so surprising that the flood has become something serious that even when the parishioners or the entire community compound was flooded and today is still coming up, we don't know what our fate will be if we see and the flood is still coming, because it will be very difficult to worship there.
It has affected us negatively. Activities, we cannot carry on activities, Bible classes, normal church services cannot carry. The place is completely devastated by the flood. Except we find alternative means. If not, there's no way to worship.
Members of the community are now begging the government to stop talking and start acting.
I can't say they are not doing anything. They need to do more. They are talking about this flood here and there, but to follow the measure and help the common man, that measure is not followed. They only talk. Nigeria seems to be a talking country. So we expect governments to do something to ameliorate the suffering of the masses.
God should arrest the people that are supposed to see to the condition of this environment, which are the government. This complaint has been there, but it will be a story for the gods that when you say, they will say, okay, we'll respond. But from the period the flood will be to the end of it, we'll hear nothing from government.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Outer West Flood Committee, Ekwerogu Joseph, confirmed to our correspondent, Onyekachi Wosu, that the situation is getting worse and more communities are already underwater. He said plans are underway to move victims to IDP camps.
Has affected so many residents of Akoda West within Ikodu, Ikodepe, Odereke, Kioniso, Akelema, Okake, Aziz. So right now, by Monday, we are mobilizing to IDP camp. So we are preparing IDP camp at Okake and Imbiama precisely. Local women have in mind to do for them. One is to provide them relief material, what they can use to eat within the period of the flooding. To IDP camp, we are trying to fumigate it today and tomorrow.
But as some residents counted losses, the Rivers State government says it is not folding its arms. On Tuesday, the government announced it has begun taking steps to tackle flooding, starting with shoreline protection in parts of Ogbama or Ogba, Egbema, Indoni, and Opobo in Koro local government areas. And to another story that has stirred emotions online, a baby held over hospital bills. The Rivers State government says it is monitoring reports that a private hospital in Port Harcourt kept a baby and his grandmother for over 1 year because of unpaid medical bills. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Adeze Ore, said the Ministry of Health has spoken with Meridian Hospital after the allegations went viral. According to her, the hospital denied holding them, saying the baby, born prematurely, has been receiving care in its special baby unit.
we contacted the management of the said hospital. The information that then was made available to the ministry was that contrary to the online report, the hospital had not detained the infant and his grandmother. The information available to the ministry was that following the demise of the infant's mother a few days after his delivery, he was being managed in the neonatal intensive care unit of the hospital.
Meanwhile, the case is now with the police and the juvenile court in Port Harcourt. Dr. Ora said the ministry is working closely to ensure the matter ends peacefully and the baby is reunited with family.
The matter is being heard by the courts. We are following the case to ensure that it comes to a peaceful resolution and the return of the little boy to his family for care in his home environment. The Rivers State Ministry of Health is fully monitoring the situation and will keep the public abreast of any further updates.
The hospital also released a statement on Monday denying the claim. It said it went to court only to protect the child from being abandoned and to request an order to transfer the baby to the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. Still in the health sector, there is finally relief for hundreds of newly employed health workers under the State Hospitals Management Board. The Rivers State government says it has paid all outstanding salaries owed to them. Commissioner for Health, Dr. Adeze Ora, explained that the delays occurred because biometric registration was suspended after the emergency rule was declared in the state. She said the workers kept doing their jobs even when they weren't paid. She added that Governor Siminalayi Fubara has now approved full payment of all outstanding salaries up to October. Take a listen.
As at the time of the President's declaration of an end to the state of emergency in September 2025, those staff had not been paid. On resumption of office, His Excellency Governor Fubara immediately directed that all outstanding payment arrears should be paid not beyond the month of October. I, on behalf of the Rivers State Ministry of Health, appreciate His Excellency's commitment to the well-being of staff of the Rivers State government.
The move is already receiving applause as the chairman of the Rivers State Joint Public Negotiating Council, Mr. Ifechukwu, is praising Governor Fubara for paying 8 months arrears. He says the payment will boost the state's economy and encourage productivity.
We equally want to use the opportunity to say we know that the governor is going into secretariat. He said he's going to renovate the secretariat. After the renovation, people have to occupy the offices in the secretariat. That the mainstream, that the secretariat, that the governor should equally look into it with a view of employing more hands to the mainstream of the service.
Away from that, the Eche Local Government Council is at it again as it flags off the remodeling of Eche Local Government Secretariat Complex. Chairman, Eche Local Government Council, Chima Boniface Njoku, in a statement said the remodeling will comprise of landscaping, asphalting, security house, coppers lodge, lock-up shops, canteen and drainages. He invited all sons and daughters of Eche and the Ogbako Eche ethnic nationality to be part of the remodeling flag-off ceremony under the chairmanship of the leader of APC in Eche, Ephraim Iwuzi. Special guests of honor are PDP leader of Eche, Prince Ima Ayanwu, members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Ignatius Onwuka, and Chimeze Wankwo, former special advisor Andrew Wanjoku. Others are APC chairman in Eche, Precious Amadi, and PDP chairman in Eche, Onwuka Regina Chidi. The special guest of honor is Senator Orwell Onyeso, senator representing Rivers East Senatorial District, and the chief host is Inamdi Okere. And in politics, stakeholders say the 2027 election should not be business as usual. Public affairs analyst Obiwan Akanwa told our correspondent Soibi Oruwari that opposition parties are weak and citizens must demand accountability.
We we do not have a credible political opposition within our political space. What we have is a ragtag of army who come together today and then scatter tomorrow. The opposition is not yet ready to give that frontal challenge to the ruling party. There is nothing absolutely on ground to show how serious the opposition party is. So APC, by my thinking, is overwhelming the system.
But former Commissioner for Employment Generation, Dr. Lelunu Wibubasa, believes it is Nigerians, not politicians, who must take control. He says citizens must get more involved in politics and make sure their votes shape the 2027 elections.
When we place the responsibility of change on the altars of political parties, as citizens, we do ourselves a whole lot of disservice. Take their destiny in their hands. By ensuring that the doors of the political parties are open for their participation and pushing down every sadistic guy that will manipulate the gateways of this opposition platform.
We will go on a quick break. When we return, we will bring you the reaction of former Vice President's aide to the delisting of persons convicted of severe crimes from the pardon list, and also NDLEA's report on their war on drugs. Do stay tuned. To the rest of the newscast. President Bola Tinubu has reversed the presidential pardon earlier granted to Miriam Sanda, who was convicted of killing her husband, Billy Yaminu Bello, in Abuja. The official gazette released on Wednesday by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, reveals that her death sentence has now been reduced to a 12-year jail term. Sanda has already spent 6 years and 8 months in custody. Others earlier pardoned were former military officers, Professor Magaji Garba and Kensaro Wiwa, and 8 others. But the president has now removed the names of individuals convicted of serious crimes, including kidnapping, drug offenses, trafficking, and fraud. However, the aide to the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Frank Shaibu, says he's not impressed. Shaibu called the reversal reactionary and embarrassing, arguing that the government only changed its mind after public outrage. He said Nigerians deserve transparency, including the names and crimes of anyone considered for pardon. Still in Abuja, the Senate has confirmed the new service chiefs appointed by President Tinubu. Senate President Godswill Akpabio said the screening was necessary to ensure only competent officers take charge of national security. Chief of Defense Staff Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede told lawmakers his time as Chief of Army Staff was challenging, but progress has been made, even though more must be done. Chief of Army Staff Major General Waidi Shaibu vowed to deal with terrorist group Lakurawa, responsible for attacks in the north. Still in the capital, the House of Representatives has called for a fully digital civil registration system to replace Nigeria's outdated record keeping for births, deaths, and marriages. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas said a modern database would improve planning, curb fraud, and strengthen national security. Only 57% of births and less than 20% of deaths are currently registered, leaving major gaps in population data. The proposed law aims to unify national records and connect federal, state, and local Former Petroleum Minister Timipre Silva has denied reports linking him to a coup plot. His media aide, Julius Bokoru, said desperate politicians fabricated the rumor ahead of 2027. He also confirmed Silva's Abuja home was recently raided by suspected defense headquarters operatives, causing damage to property. No reasons were given for the raid, and the family was outside the country. Meanwhile, reports say military investigators are probing suspicious NDDC transactions linked to some detained soldiers and politically exposed persons. The defense headquarters insists the officers are being held for misconduct, not a coup. Let's have a look at the NDLEA's war on drugs. The NDLEA says it has arrested over 45,000 suspects and secured more than 9,200 convictions in the last 30 months. Chairman Buba Mawa says drug trafficking remains a threat to national security, but enforcement and international cooperation are getting stronger. Now, let's take a look at business. Where in business, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is celebrating the country's removal from the Financial Action Task Force grey list. MAN says this will improve Nigeria's financial reputation, make global trade easier, attract investment, and reduce international banking restrictions. But it warns that local bottlenecks must be fixed for the benefits to be fully felt. Now in entertainment, on a lighter note, former Big Brother Nigeria housemate V. Iye went viral after sharing how she was mocked growing up left-handed. A story opened a flood of comment from Nigerians who say they were beaten, forced to switch hands, or treated like being left-handed was a bad habit. In sports, CAF has released fixtures for the 2026 World Cup mini playoffs in Morocco. Nigeria faces Gabon in the opening semi-final on November the 13th, while Cameroon tackles DR Congo. The winner of the final on November the 16th will compete for Africa's 10th and final World Cup slot. Let's take a look at the international scene.
And now we'll bring you news from around the world.
Hurricane Melissa has devastated parts of the Caribbean, leaving at least 5 people dead in Jamaica and 20 more in Haiti. Tens of thousands of homes are damaged, with power cuts, flooding, and mudslides reported across Jamaica, where up to 90% of roofs were torn off. Cuba and the Bahamas are now in the storm's path as Melissa continues moving north toward Bermuda and Canada. Washington has deployed disaster response teams, while King Charles and regional leaders express deep concern. A quick recap on the news this morning. You heard rising flood waters is forcing residents and worshippers out of churches in Aouda, River State. The River State Ministry of Health has reacted to the viral report of a baby held over unpaid bills. Former Vice President aide Shaibu says President Tinubu delisting of persons convicted of severe crimes from pardon lists is reactionary and embarrassing. On the foreign scene, Hurricane Melissa has killed 25, ravaged the Caribbean, and is heading towards Cuba and the Bahamas. The news was edited by Ifechukwu Muonyili. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I am Kaladakuru Batubo. Good afternoon, and please do stay tuned. Sunny Side with Dennis Walu is up next.